What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive and faster than a speeding bullet SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. Now for today's video, we're going to try something new, something that I wouldn't typically cover. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Magik-esque fan when it comes to superhero comics. I don't hate it by any means, but it's just not my jam. But because I have extra time to kill, we'll be covering the new midnightsons comic, the midnightsons issue number 1. Written by ethansacks with the art by Luigi Zagiria. But before we get weird and maybe a bit spooky, if you are new to the channel, then smash that like and subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on anything that's happening on this lovely and majestic channel. And because we managed to cross over 1,000 subs, let's raise the bar and go full on Super Saiyan as we try to reach 200 more subs before the end of 2022. Thus, without further ado, let's get freaky with midnightsons issue number 1. Our story begins late at night on April 3rd in the town of Centerville, and what's happening in this lovely town where dreams come true is a witch burning. Apparently Mary Beth Zurich is said to be a witch, and rumor has it that her family is known to practice unholy magic, and the townspeople who live here are just not about that lifestyle. They are very much anti-witch. However, before the leader of this anti-witch group can pull the trigger on a poor defenseless Mary, shadows begin to formulate into a menacing hand, and I think it's safe to assume that Mary did not die via boom headshot. The next day, we pick up in Strange Academy on the outskirts of New Orleans, and basically if you're not familiar with the Strange Academy, it's the Hogwarts of the Marvel Universe. The more you know. And here we follow a student by the name of ZOE LAVEAU, and she's super hyped for today because her class has a guest speaker, and that guest speaker is none other than Blade. And he's here to give a lecture on defense against vampires. And ZOE is just fangirling out times 3,000. She is super hyped. Also, from a third-party perspective, I actually appreciate the fact that Strange Academy has individual stakes for each of their students. It's nice to know an institution has the resources for their student body. Following the class lecture, ZOE and her demonic friend are talking about their career opportunities for their respective futures, wondering if they could ever become Avengers or something heroic along those lines. However, if we're to look at this from a more cynical lens, they're probably wondering if they're going to be relevant in the later years. Suddenly, without any sort of warning, ZOE falls unconscious, like she literally just drops down to the floor. And within ZOE's mind, or whatever supernatural plane of existence that our mind is in, we see visions of the future play out as black fog consumes the entire realm. And while that's happening, we hear ominous whispers mentioning the bringer of ruin and the last stand of the midnightsons. And as we see characters like Blade, Wolverine, and Ghost Spirit fending off against a force of shadow monsters, we see ZOE in her zombified form being whispered to by a demonic presence, where it's telling her to embrace her destiny, and by following the path toward wiping out all life, to begin anew. And it's right here in that moment where ZOE is zapped back into reality, where she immediately wakes up in the middle of the hallway, but it appears that all the students are afraid of her. Apparently when she was knocked out, she came off as if she was in a trance, talking about wiping away all life and the world beginning anew. You know, creepy stuff. And I'm no expert, but I would bet money and blood that if I saw a classmate of mine drop to the floor and recite demonic wording, I'd be spooked out as well. And so because of this, ZOE's embarrassed and she runs away. Meanwhile, we pick up with our squad of supernatural heroes, and come to find out, it wasn't just ZOE who bore witness to this vision. Many others did as well. People like Magik, Blade, Brother Voodoo, and it's not just the heroes located in Strange Academy, but people like Ghost Spirit in California receive the same vision as well. And so too do characters from all across the globe. Clea, Wong, Doctor Doom, and although Wolverine didn't necessarily receive a vision, the fact that he was in it means that he's involved in this somehow. Which is why we see Magik show up in Madripoor to recruit Wolverine for what's about to come. From there, we pick back up ZOE, shown running throughout the hallways, trying to hide from everyone, but eventually she is cornered by the heroes because, with having seen the vision, they all know that ZOE is at the heart of it. Now, it's not like the heroes are mad or are going to try and kill her. They're basically just trying to understand what's happening. Like, no one's going to pull a Homelander and be like, okay, well, fuck it, let's just kill the girl. No, they're genuinely trying to understand. But because ZOE's young and is embarrassed that her friends think of her as being this walking apocalypse, we know that she's terrified and she just doesn't know what to make on what's happening. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that ZOE is a zombie, and she wears a magical necklace that prevents her zombie form from being a thing. Sort of like the Red Woman in Game of Thrones, except rather than being stupid old, think of a zombie. And it's here where the school bully rushes in, and because he's a dick, he rips off her necklace, thus switching from her human form into her zombie form, which Zoe is extremely sensitive about. Basically, it's adding another layer of fear that Zoe is currently undergoing. Just before the heroes can provide a hand, that's when shadow monsters like the ones in the beginning start to show up in the halls of Strange Academy, and they immediately begin to attack everyone on sight, for they want the girl. The shadows want Zoe. Eventually, as the fight between the heroes and the shadows ensues, we see the arrival of Ghost Spirit, who rolls up with her motorcycle, and she begins smacking the shadows with her chain whips. And honestly, minus a Supermax prison escape, this is basically playing out like Brian Michael Bendis' New Avengers, where all the heroes in that story were all conveniently in the same location when Electro initiated a prison escape. Bendis is coming. Ah! Now, once Agathaharkness shows up, she uses her magical cloak and her and Zoe teleport away off campus. But once that happens, the shadows disappear as well. But once they do that, bodies are left behind. And come to find out, these bodies are the same people from the beginning, the ones who are witch hunting. But wait, there's more, because Nico noticed something else in the vision. And so after conducting one of her spells, sort of like a construct playback, we see a construct of Nico from the vision. And here, her watch reads April 8th, meaning that this upcoming apocalypse will happen in 4 days' time. And if that wasn't bad enough, it's here where we see the arrival of Dr. Frickin' Doom. Thus it's here where the villainous dictator demands that the heroes turn over the girl, aka Zoe, or else they will face doom. And that, folks, was the end of Midnight Suns issue number 1. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly means the world to me. So with me not being the biggest fan of magic or the supernatural of the Marvel Universe, and with this being a magic-esque supernatural focused team, overall the issue was fun. It didn't blow off my socks like Jed McKay's Moon Knight or Chip Zdarsky's Batman and Daredevil, but I think what this issue does well, and what it manages to do so to the utmost importance, is by bringing the characters together while also bringing levity into the fold. Sometimes, at least from my point of view, magic tends to be viewed with a layer of seriousness, but that's not really the case in this book. It's not stupid like, Thor Love and Thunder, shots fired, but the word fun comes to mind. And fun is the perfect word to describe this issue. It's also very welcoming. Again, if you're like me and you're not the biggest magic comic book fan, I think you'll find this issue to be fun. When it comes to the team itself, I think it's safe to assume that Wolverine is on the team because he's Wolverine and he's a very likable character who sells, but he fits well. It's not like he doesn't not belong. Blade is definitely a badass, which makes me even more excited for his movie. And seeing Scotty Young's Strange Academy and characters like Agathaharkness joining the team is pretty cool. For me, I've always liked Agatha. Fun fact of life, Agatha in the comics was introduced in the Fantastic Four as Franklin Richards' nanny in a sense. Whenever the Fantastic Four were out on missions, she would watch over Franklin. But little did Reed and Sue know that Agatha was actually a witch. It was a pretty cool twist. But yeah, Midnight Suns was fun, and I especially liked how it ended with Dr. Doom showing up and being like, hey, we're gonna kill this girl right now because I don't care. I don't have emotions. But yeah, if you're looking to try something new or whatnot, perhaps try out this issue. So yeah, as always, I'm your majestic sayer over at SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 2? And what are your thoughts on the Midnight Suns game? Honestly, I don't really know what to make of it. It's kind of random. Like, Midnight Suns is such a random project to make for a video game. Out of all the teams in Marvel, Midnight Suns, really? But yeah, let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity goo.